Everyone wants to make six figures, but if you don't have the right habits in place before you hit that milestone, that $100,000 will ruin you faster than a minimum wage job. Today, we outline the 7 non-negotiable habits you must build before the big money arrives. More money does not fix bad money management, it magnifies it. If you can't manage $40,000 properly, giving you $100,000 will just create $100,000 worth of problems, stress, and likely debt. A higher income doesn't automatically mean financial success. In fact, it often exposes the same habits on a larger scale: overspending, lack of planning, and poor discipline. Think of money like pressure. Whatever cracks already exist will only widen as more flows in. That's why before chasing more income, you need to build strong financial habits: budgeting, saving, and intentional spending. These habits are your financial armor. Because in the end, it's not about how much you make, it's about how well you manage what you have. Take David. On paper, he did everything right. Brilliant at DevOps, highly skilled, in demand. After years of grinding, he finally hit the milestone everyone talks about. 6 figures. It felt like he had unlocked a new level of life. Bigger paycheck, more confidence, more freedom, or at least, that's what it looked like. So naturally, his lifestyle started to shift. Nothing crazy at first. Better apartment, upgraded gadgets, more convenience. More "I can afford this now" decisions. And because his income was higher, none of it felt dangerous. But behind the scenes, there was a problem. David had never built the foundational habits. No emergency fund, no clear spending boundaries, no system to manage his cash flow, and most importantly, he saw credit cards as a tool to extend his lifestyle, not manage it. So when his income increased, his behavior didn't change, it just scaled. Every upgrade went on a card, every shortfall was covered by borrowing, every "I'll pay it later" decision stacked on top of the last. And because his salary was high, the limits were higher too. More credit, more access, more room to make bigger mistakes. At first, everything looked fine. Bills were being paid, lifestyle looked impressive. No immediate consequences. But slowly, something dangerous started happening. His debt began to grow at the same pace as his income. Every raise created more room. Not for savings, but for more spending. And that's the trap. From the outside, David looked successful. But financially, he wasn't moving forward. He was running in place, just at a much higher level. Because without the right habits, more money didn't fix his situation. It simply made the consequences bigger, faster, and harder to escape. David's situation wasn't unique. It's what happens when income grows, but habits don't. Because without structure, something subtle takes over: the wealth illusion. The moment your income increases, your brain starts telling you a story. You're doing well, you can afford more. This is your new level. And the higher the number in your account, the stronger that illusion becomes. But here's the reality David didn't see: he wasn't building wealth. He was just handling larger amounts of money badly. Same habits, bigger consequences. That's why habits matter more than income. And while we'll break down all 7, there are 3 that make or break everything. First, separating emotions from spending. David spent based on how he felt. Stressed, gives order something. Tired, gives buy convenience. Excited, gives upgrade something. Every emotion became a spending trigger. And when your spending is emotional, it becomes unpredictable and uncontrollable. Second, tracking net worth, not income. David focused on what he earned. 6 figures felt like success. But he ignored what he owned versus owed, because income can go up, while net worth stays flat or even drops. If your debt grows as fast as your salary, you're not getting richer. You're just getting more leveraged. Third, paying yourself before anything else. David paid everyone first: bills, subscriptions, lifestyle, and whatever was left was savings, which usually meant nothing. Because if saving depends on leftovers, it almost never happens. Here's the core problem. Without these habits, money doesn't follow a plan. It follows your impulses. And when that happens, more income doesn't create stability, it just creates a bigger, more expensive version of the same cycle. That's why the foundation matters, because without it, even a 6-figure income can feel like it's never enough. Here's what most people misunderstand about money. It's not just math, it's behavior on autopilot. Your financial decisions aren't made fresh every time. They're driven by patterns your brain has repeated so often. They've become muscle memory. Think about it. You don't consciously analyze every purchase. You don't pause and calculate every decision. Most of the time, you just act, swipe, click, spend. Because your brain has learned a default response. Money in the account equals money available to use, and once that pattern is set, it doesn't matter if the number is $500, or $5,000, or $50,000. The reflex stays the same: spend what you see. That's why David's income increase didn't change his outcome. His behavior didn't upgrade with his salary, it simply operated on a larger scale. Same reflex, bigger numbers, and here's the critical part. Your brain doesn't automatically adapt to more money. It just amplifies your existing habits. If your default is saving gives, you'll save more. If your default is spending gives, you'll spend more. There's no automatic correction. That's why real change doesn't start with income. It starts with reprogramming the way you think about money. You have to interrupt the old pattern. Create new rules, new defaults, new automatic behaviors, like money isn't fully yours until it's saved. Spending requires intention, not impulse. Income is irrelevant without control. At first, it feels unnatural, because you're going against your existing wiring. But over time, repetition builds a new pattern, a new reflex, and once that happens, something powerful shifts. You no longer rely on motivation or discipline. Your behavior starts working in your favor by default. Because when your financial habits become automatic, that's when your income finally starts to make a real difference. Let's test your financial reflex in real time. Imagine this. Someone hands you $10,000 in cash. Right now, no warning, no preparation. What happens next? Do you already know exactly where that money goes? How much gets saved? How much gets invested? How much, if any, gets spent? Or does your brain go, I'll figure it out? Because that moment, right there, reveals everything. If you don't have a predefined plan, your habits will take over. Not logic, not strategy, just your default behavior. And that's the difference between people who build wealth and people who just pass money through their hands. One group decides before the money arrives, the other decides in the moment. And in the moment, emotion usually wins. So ask yourself honestly, do you control your money when it shows up, or does your behavior decide for you? David didn't change when things were going well. He changed when things became impossible to ignore. At some point, the numbers stopped making sense. High income, but constant stress, good salary, but no real progress. That's when he hit his wake-up moment, not dramatic, not overnight. Just a quiet realization, something is wrong. So instead of chasing another raise, he did something simple but powerful. He stopped tracking his bank balance and started tracking his net worth, assets minus liabilities, what he actually owned versus what he actually owed. At first, it was uncomfortable because for the first time, he could see the full picture. Not just what was in his account, but what was working against him. And that's when the illusion broke. He noticed something shocking. Every time he made a lifestyle upgrade, his net worth dropped. A new car, monthly payments increased. But his overall financial position went down. More spending felt good in the moment, but pushed him further behind. For the first time, he saw the truth. Not all spending is equal. Some decisions move you forward. Others quietly pull you backward. And when you track net worth, you can't hide from that reality. That one shift changed his behavior. Because now, every decision had a visible consequence. Before buying something, he started asking, does this increase my net worth, or decrease it? That question alone filtered out most of his impulsive spending. Over time, something powerful happened. Awareness created control. Control created better decisions. And those decisions started stacking. Debt slowly reduced. Savings slowly increased. Momentum slowly built. David didn't become perfect. He didn't suddenly stop spending, but now his actions were aligned with progress. Because once you see money through the lens of net worth, you stop chasing the illusion of looking rich. Here's the shift Chloe made, and it changes everything. Stop trading hours of your life for things that lose value the moment you own them. Because every purchase isn't just money. It's time, your time. And once that time is gone, you don't get it back, so the real question becomes, is this purchase paying me back or slowly draining me? That's the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset works for you, it grows, it compounds. It gives you more options over time. A liability, it does the opposite. It takes your money, your attention, your energy, and gives you less in return. And once you start seeing money this way, your decisions change automatically, because true financial intelligence isn't about earning more. It's about knowing what deserves your time and what doesn't. Let's be honest for a second. What's the one purchase you made that felt like a smart move at the time, but turned out to be a mistake, the one that looked like an upgrade, but quietly drained your money, time, or energy? Drop it in the comments, no judgment, because those painful lessons are usually the ones that teach the most, and someone reading your answer might avoid making the exact same mistake you already learned from.